Hello friends, this is Reckless Tempest, Value Grinder Extraordinaire. Today I'm going to present 6 oddball cards that have neat synergy with Zaffai Thunder Conductor that are not included in the Prismari Performance Commander Deck. The majority of cards I'm going to bring up are going to be focused on getting value from Zaffai's passive ability, where if you cast or copy any instant or sorcery, scry 1. If it costs 5 or more, get a 4/4 elemental token, and if it costs 10 or more, do 10 damage to a random opponent. First up we have Predict. It's a 2-mana instant. Choose a card name, then target player mills a card. If a card with a chosen name was milled this way, you draw 2 cards, otherwise you draw a card. So Zaffai's Scry 1 ability will resolve before Predict does. So you will scry, keep the top card, remember the name, and then when you must name a card on Predict's resolution, you then name the card you remembered. It's kind of cute, but drawing 2 for 2 mana, that's really good, and you don't lose 2 life, unlike a card like Knight's Whisper. It's instant, you can keep up counter magic, etc. I just think this card is not very great normally, but I think it works really well with Zaffai when he's in play. Next up we have Logic Knot. It's 2 blue and X, instant, Delve, so you get to exile cards from your graveyard to count as 1 generic for the X. Counter target spell unless its controller pays X. So the way X's work with mana value is when you put the spell on the stack, the X value will count as part of the mana value. So if X is 3, in total this will be a 5 mana value card, so Zaffai will then give you an elemental. The reason this makes the list is, it's a nice versatile counter spell. We might need a few more Delve enablers since the deck already comes with a few, but, it works well with our commander, and Counterspell's a good card. This is kind of worse, but it works with our commander better. I think it's a pretty easy include. Next up we have Blood Moon. It's a 3-mana enchantment. Non-basic lands are mountains. I am contractually obligated to bring up Blood Moon whenever making a video about a Is It deck, so here it is. This is an excellent card for just ruining your opponent's mana bases, especially those greedy people that like to play 3 to 5 color decks, all duels, they're just throwing their money at you. They're just like, bam, bam, stop it, play basics. There's a little inner griefer in all of us, I like to think. Next up we have Mystics of the Is Magnus. It's a 2 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, 2/2 legendary goblin wizard. Whenever you cast a instant or sorcery spell with a mana value greater than the number of experience counters you have, get an experience counter. And instants and sorceries you cast cost 1 generic less to cast for each experience counter you have. So I think this works really well with Zaffai as a interesting cost reducer, because your spell curve is naturally going to be pretty wide. It's going to ramp up because you're going to have some cheap spells like cantrips, predicts, etc. Just because you're a regular blue deck, you want to get Scry 1 value, but then you're going to have 5 drops. That'll also ramp up his experience points, and then that'll lower the costs of all your other big spells, and eventually you want to presumably get up to 10 mana to start nogging people for 10 randomly. Even if you don't want to go that high, as long as you still want to make elementals and cast 5s, I think it's really good. Here we have Riptide Laboratory. It's a land, taps for colorless, and it has activated ability, 1 generic, 1 blue, tap, return target wizard you control to its owner's hand. I just think this is a really good card in a Zaffai deck, because... Wait, what? What do you mean he's a shaman? You mean this doesn't work? I bought 20 of these! I'm ruined! Next up we have Ignite Memories. It's 4 generic, 1 red for a sorcery. Tiger reveals a card at random from their hand. Ignite Memory does damage equal to the card's mana value. And Storm. So when you cast a spell, copy it for each spell you cast before this turn. You may choose new copies. So the way Storm interacts with Magecraft is the Storm copies will be seen by Zaffai, and then each Storm copy, in addition to the original one, is going to give you an elemental token. So I like this over things like Grape Shot or Ground Rift, because they just give you a scry effect, whereas this will pump out a army of elementals, and on top of that, doing damage with your Storm card combos nicely with making 4/4s that, at some point you might want to attack your opponents with, to then reduce their life total to 0. Again, kind of like, this doesn't have a lot of plays on EDH Rec. I think it's a pretty good slot in. Next up we have Temple Trespass. It is 8 generic and 3 blue for a sorcery with Delve, so we can exile cards from our graveyard to make it cost cheaper, and take an extra turn after this one, exile Temple Trespass. I included this because You know, this is kind of light on 10s, and I think time walks are just very good, especially as you start churning out elementals. If you churn out elementals, take a time walk, bam, beat your opponents to death, right? So not only does this help fill that niche of getting our time walk count up, but also it's a 10 drop or 10 higher, so we get to do random damage to the opponent. And those are all my picks. If I missed something or if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this VOD and want to see more like it, please click the subscribe button down below to get notified when I craft new VODs on MTG news, finance, gameplay, and I do a good amount of Legends of Runeterra stuff too. Maybe you could check it out. Anyways, see you next time.